Dolphins fans, I need your help. I'm in a sub battle with Tyler Jones. We're fast approaching our Seahawks channel. Oh my goodness, Tyler Jones is here. Let's go, Jones. Let's go. Let's go. Hit that big red sub button right now. Dolphins fans, welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about some Dolphins trade targets. It's obviously been a big offseason for the Fins, from hiring Mike McDaniel to signing Teron Armstead to trading for Tyreek Hill. Could another big move be on the horizon for Chris Grier and this Dolphins front office? They do make a trade. These are 5 guys that they might target. And we start with Clelin Ferrell, who has been heavily linked to NFL trade rumors. He plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was a top 5 pick in 2019 and has had a disappointing start to his career. Really hasn't lived up to what a top 5 pick should be doing. So I think a fresh start could be what he needs. And Mitchell Rentz, who hosts the Raiders Report here at Chat Sports, says that he spends a lot of time in Miami. He loves Miami. Who doesn't love Miami? So maybe Ferrell would be interested in being traded to the Fins. Here's what he's done throughout his career. First 3 seasons, just 32 games played. He struggled to stay on the field. 68 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. I still like him as a player, although injury concerns are there with him. He hasn't really lived up to expectations. But let's be honest, he really had no business being a top 5 pick. That was a little bit surprising when the Raiders selected him. So maybe a fresh start would be really beneficial for him. Here's what it would take to get him. Because he's on an expiring rookie contract, all you would probably have to give up is a 6th-round pick. I think this is worth it, especially because the Raiders would be picking up more than half of his salary for this next season. If traded, the Raiders would save $4.77 million in 2022. They would have a cap hit north of $5 million. He's not going to get cut because the Raiders wouldn't save anything, and the cap hit would be nearly $10 million. The Raiders recently declined his 5th-year option. A lot of people thinking he's on the trade block after that. Now, he's a little bit pricey, but I think he would be worth it. You would be just taking on 1 year of his current contract, and so if he performs well this season, then maybe you can re-sign him. But I think it's worth it because it would bolster what is already a really good defensive line. Now, Melvin Ingram, he's going to be back and forth as an edge rusher between the linebacker position and the defensive line. So I have him slotted behind Agba, who you brought back. This is a big year for Raekwon Davis, and Christian Wilkins, I expect him to have a big year, as well as Zach Sealer. So you could bring in Ferrell, someone who can play on this defensive line at a pretty high level. Do you want to trade for Clelin Ferrell? Type T for trade or type P for pass down in the comments section. Keep in mind, the Raiders would be taking on more than half of his salary. You'd only have to pay him a little bit shy of $5 million. And you would be bolstering your defensive line as well. It's the pinned comment on today's video, so when you're hit with an ad break, go down. Let me know what you think. Let's get into our next trade target. And the reason that Alexander Mattison is on this list is because I asked y'all in my video yesterday to go down in the comments and name a running back that you'd want to trade for. And the guy that got the most comments, even more so than Christian McCaffrey, was this guy, Alexander Mattison. Now, the Vikings feel really good about their young quarterbacks, Nwangwu and Chandler, and a reason that Mattison has been in trade rumors is because they're absolutely loaded at that position. Dalvin Cook is starting for them. They drafted Ty Chandler. They have Nwangwu. So Mattison really isn't needed on that team. Now, it's unlikely that the Dolphins would trade for a running back because they signed three running backs in NFL free agency, but I can't rule anything out. This has been an unpredictable offseason. The Dolphins have made all of these big moves, and I think Mattison fits really well into Mike McDaniel's scheme. So if they have an opportunity to trade for Mattison, maybe they would do it, and I'm sure Myles Gaskin would be involved in any deal like that. Here are 4 running backs that have been in NFL trade rumors. Which one, if you had to pick one, who would you trade for? Alexander Mattison, type AM. Zach Moss, they trading him within the division. That'd be interesting. Type ZM. Josh Jacobs, type JJ. Or Christian McCaffrey, type CM. And because I have Clelin Ferrell and Josh Jacobs both in this video, mentioning both of them, I put together this blockbuster trade. So you would get Josh Jacobs, who is a really, really solid running back, and Clelin Ferrell, put him on the defensive line. You'd be giving up Myles Gaskin, who's your fourth-string running back, who would probably become the second running back on the Raiders potentially. Adam Butler, he's a backup defensive end, so really not much need for him if you trade for Ferrell. And then you'd be giving up a sixth-round pick. I think this trade would be worth it. Would the Raiders do it? I don't know. Would the Dolphins do it? I don't know. Now, go down, give us a like on this video. Help us win the Chat Sports contest. Right now, we're fourth in the rankings. I believe the Lakers report just passed us. Nobody likes the Lakers. Come on. So go down, give us a like, help us win this contest at Chat Sports. Getting into our next trade target, that is Connor McGovern. And we're obviously going to have to talk about a few offensive linemen in this video because the Fins absolutely need offensive line help. And McGovern is a trade candidate because the Cowboys drafted Tyler Smith to play left guard. That wasn't a good pick, but Smith is going to be the starting left guard. Here's what Tom Downey, host of the Cowboys Report, said. McGovern enters the last year of his deal and doesn't appear to be a piece for the Cowboys offense. Tyler Smith will take over sooner rather than later at left guard, and the team refuses to try him out at center. That leaves him as the number one backup interior offensive lineman. So if a good offer comes through, Dallas could pull the trigger on the former third-round pick. Do you want to trade for Connor McGovern? Do you want him to be the starting left tackle on this team? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Down in the comment section, you might be able to get him for a fifth or sixth round pick, and he is a much better option, in my opinion, than Liam Eichenberg or Austin Jackson at that spot. Getting into another offensive lineman, that is Storm Norton from the Chargers. Coming off of a somewhat disappointing season last year, he was listed as a trade candidate by NFLTradeRumors.com. Now, his run blocking grade was really, really solid, a 75.5 grade, top 25 amongst all NFL offensive tackles. So because the run block grade was pretty solid, that's why I have him as a trade target for the Dolphins. That's what they're going to be looking for, someone who can really block well in terms of run blocking, because that's going to be what Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith are going to be looking to do this year, run the football. That was McDaniel's identity last season with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, his overall grade was a 60, not great, but his run blocking grade, very solid. What's also going to be solid is our coverage of the NBA draft next Thursday at Chat Sports. A week from today, it's coming up. A lot of exciting storylines emerging from the NBA draft. Who's going to be number one overall pick? Who's going to be, taken late in second round? Maybe Kai Soto could be a surprising draft pick. We're going to be breaking down all of the draft picks here at Chat Sports on our main channel. That's the link to subscribe right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. That link going to be in the comments and the description. If you watch the NFL draft, you know how much better our coverage was than the network's. Going to be the same with the NBA draft. Getting into our last trade target, there he is. We haven't talked about him in a while, but Deebo Samuel is my fifth and final trade target in this video. He requested a trade from the 49ers in April, and around that time, we were seriously talking about this guy as someone the Dolphins can trade for. He's seeking a massive contract extension. He saw Devontae Adams get paid. He saw Tyreek Hill get paid. He wants to be next. Now, he skipped OTAs, but he did report to 49ers minicamp this week. Now, OTA's voluntary, minicamp mandatory. He's on a rookie contract, so he can't afford to be fined a lot of money for missing minicamp, which is why he reported this week. But he still hasn't received a contract extension after one of the best seasons we have ever seen from a wide receiver in this league. 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, 77 receptions. You might be saying, well, that's a hot take, one of the best seasons ever. But here's what he did running the football. That is what makes Deebo so special, his ability to do both. 365 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. Keep in mind, he did this with Mike McDaniel as his OC. Now, I think an in-season trade for Deebo is more likely. I don't think he's going to get traded before the season. However, if the Niners and Deebo cannot come to an agreement on a contract extension, and the Niners with Trey Lance are struggling, which I hope they do because the Dolphins have their first-round pick next year. But if they're struggling midseason, they're out of the playoff race, the Dolphins are in the playoff race, I absolutely think the Dolphins could trade for Deebo midseason, and they have the assets to pull that trade off, having 2 first-round picks next year. In an in-season trade on an expiring contract, you probably would not have to give up both of those picks to get him. Do you want Deebo Samuel in Miami? Type W for want or type D if you don't. Do you want the very versatile wide receiver for the 49ers to be reunited with Mike McDaniel? Go down in the comments and let me know. Appreciate you all watching Dolphins Today. Soon, we're going to be putting out a video, trade candidates on the Dolphins, 5 guys that could get traded, and then in the near future, we're going to be exploring more trade targets for the Fins. It's summertime in the NFL. It's a little bit quiet, but I guarantee you the Dolphins might not be done making moves. They might go out and trade for one of the 5 guys I just mentioned.